Leafs Nation, time has come to say goodbye.
The Maple Leafs make their first move of the offseason, firing head coach Sheldon Keefe after 5 seasons. Hey, everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And no surprise, guys, Sheldon Keefe has been relieved of his duties as head coach of the Maple Leafs. Keefe finishing with a regular season record of 212 wins, 97 losses, and 40 overtime losses, but it was just 1-5 in playoff series. Lance, ultimately, the postseason was the undoing for Keefe, the lack of success, of course. How do you think, though, he'll be remembered for his time in Toronto?
Well, because it's such an such an impatient fan base, and they're in the business of winning, as Keith said as he was going out the door.
I didn't get it done in the playoffs. I didn't help push our team over the line and deliver. I accept responsibility for that. No excuses. That's the job. I didn't get it done.
It'll be the playoffs and those failures, especially. You think of 2 or 3 game sevens that have stuck with former Leaf coaches. This guy was in 4 or 5 of them, plus the 5-gamer with Columbus. The failure to get through there against teams that not he, but the Leafs should have beaten, like Columbus, like Montreal, and being in control to a degree of the Boston series, and that those are the things that'll haunt him. And you sit back and you look at some of the numbers that you put out there about the wins and that, and the Maple Leafs have been around for 107 years as a franchise. He had the best record of anybody there, including 300-point seasons. And sadly, that is going to be forgotten in all this. But it's when you're talking about a team that has the NHL record now of 57 years without a cup, people want results in springtime. You don't deliver there, and ultimately you're going to be shown the door.
Yeah, you know what? This is more on what's happened in the past few years. I think if they had beaten Columbus and Montreal in those years and still followed with what we've seen in the past couple of years, this still would have happened. I mean, the fact is the Leafs, the playoff success is a little bit mind-boggling given the way that they've been in the regular season under Keefe. One of the best teams, in everyone's minds. They've taken defensive steps structurally and everything else in the way that the team plays. Not so much this year. There was a step back in that regard, but one common thread through this year was Brad Treliving kept saying the defense was a work in progress, and on the trade deadline he said it's going to have to be done by committee. Well, it wasn't a defensive issue that cost the Leafs the first round against the Boston Bruins. It was an inability to put the puck in the net. And I'll be curious to hear what Treliving has to say on that kind of thing tomorrow when he, Keith Pelly, and Brendan Shanahan meet with media. But Sheldon Keefe is 43. He's going to get another job coaching the NHL. We don't know when it's going to be. He's got 2-year extension about to kick in. He's financial security for the next few years. But whoever it is that replaces him, whether it's Craig Berube or Todd McLellan, or if you believe that if Carolina fails and Rod Brindamore and the Canes part ways, whether it's Brindamore, whoever it is, they're going to have to get this group somehow to be more productive in the playoffs. And we don't even know what that core is going to look like next year. I mean, with all these Mitch Marner rumors going around. So again, you're as Keith said Monday, guys, you're judged on what you do in the playoffs. It's a results-oriented business, and he didn't get them when things counted the most.
So, Terry, you mentioned a bunch of the names that are available or could be available this summer. We'll, of course, hear more from management on Friday and potentially what type of coaches they may be looking at. But when you see those names, do any of them jump off the page for you that could be Keefe's replacement?
Well, Berube does for sure, right? There's been interest there. He interviewed in Ottawa, interviewed in New Jersey. I guess if you're the New Jersey Devils, if you liked him that much, why haven't you made that move yet? But so we'll see. Berube's the guy that led this, came on the board with the Blues, led them to a Stanley Cup in 2019, and really helped turn that season around. Of course, we all know where the Blues were in the standings at the new year and what they were able to do. So there is that recent success, but I think whoever it is, these names that are being put around, I mean, it's obviously going to be somebody that has quite a bit of NHL experience, whether it's him or, like I said, Todd McLellan, Rod Brindamore. Somebody's going to come in who's been at this for a while, been doing it for a while. We can say recycling, I suppose, which is what it's going to be to a degree, but the fact is, it's still a group that needs that type of experience. And one thing for me, guys, that's going to be really important for the new coach, no matter who it is a really good working relationship with Austin Matthews. I think that Keefe had that with his star players, but it's going to be key given that Matthews' extension kicks in next year. He's not going anywhere. Probably the next captain of this team once John Tavares is done. And whoever it is going to have a really good relationship with Matthews to help get this team on the right course in the playoffs.
I certainly agree with Terry. I won't recycle some of the names. Maybe to add Joel Quenneville. A lot of people think that this might be his this might be the right way for him to come back. But two things: the person has to be able to have a thick skin dealing with the daily grind that is the working in a market like Toronto. And secondly, to Terry's point, he's got to have a good working relationship with the entire core four, and especially the players Terry mentioned. I mean, you had Mike Babcock come in, who was a great coach, but a very poor babysitter. He turned out to be very incompatible with the younger players, and everybody thought, well, here comes Sheldon Keefe. He's worked with the kids on the farm; he'll be okay as well. And then the perception eventually came out he wasn't hard enough on them. So here we are back again. Do we, do they need a guy who's going to crack the whip with them, or are they, somebody who just kind of finds a good middle ground there to work in some parental supervision and public relations and do a good job handling that. So that, as Terry says, is going to be a key part of the job description of whoever comes into this position.
Yeah, that thick skin thing. It's all part of the guys we're talking about, right, Lance? They all have that experience. They've all got it. They've all been through the NHL block several times, and even Berube, he played here for part of his season in the early '90s. So there is a little bit of that experience, a tiny taste of the market, albeit a few decades ago. But yeah, that'll be part and parcel of anyone that they hire to replace Sheldon.
I'll quickly add that Craig Berube wore 16 when he was here, which is Mitch Marner's number. So maybe there'll be some accountability for that particular digit.
Sorry, the last thing Rob add to is the assistant coaching staff is going to come under scrutiny here, as it should. The Leafs saying today that those decisions are to come. So a couple things. Treliving now will be able to hire his own guy, and that won't be an excuse going forward. Not that it was with Sheldon. So he gets to hire his own guy, and we'll see if it's up to that person to make the decision on the coaching staff. But if I'm Guy Boucher, I can't be comfortable right now. Not with the way. I know there were big players out at certain times during that first round, but that power play still 1 for 21 should have worked a lot better than it did, and that falls on Boucher's shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of decisions for the Maple Leafs to make this offseason. Who do you think should be the next head coach? Let us know by leaving your comment in the section below. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.